I'm on the road to recovery in Castle Rock, Colorado. Live from Millville, New Jersey, I'm on the road to recovery. We're on the road to recovery in Morgantown, West Virginia at Mountaineer Field. And live in Scranton, Pennsylvania, I'm on the road to recovery. Here I am on the road to recovery from Berlin, Maryland. Hey, from Caseville, Michigan, I'm on the road to recovery. I'm on the road to recovery at Ann Arbor, University of Michigan. On the road to recovery, we were recently on the eastern shores of Maryland in Talbot County, and man, I got a new friend. He's from Jersey, so we had that in common, and we had terrible stories where we hurt a lot of people, and we had that in common. And he just has so many gifts, the gift of voice, the gift of singing, and although I share the gift of voice, not of singing, he just is inspiring, and I'm just so grateful to share his story with you. On the road to recovery, Talbot County, Maryland, with Bruce Strazza.
Hello, everybody. My name is Bruce Strazza. Originally from the New York, New Jersey area, I currently reside in Easton, Maryland. Right now, we're sitting in one of my favorite places. We're at Christ Church, Easton. I'm a member of this church. I have been a member of this church for about 2.5 years. I'm also a member of Recovery. I belong to a 12-step fellowship. My journey to Christ was a difficult one, and it was something that I wasn't certain that I could ever believe in. In 1997, certain events had gone down in my life, and I found my way at Cornerstone Medical Center in New York City seeking treatment. And I was on the 7th floor, and I was exposed to something I didn't exactly understand, and that was 12-step recovery. I cleaned up, I sobered up, and I left. And it was February 7th in 1997, the last time I put a drink or a drug in me. Now, I want to tell you part of my story is that I stayed clean that entire time. And the reason I'm mentioning 1997 to current, because here we are in September of 2017, is because in my 8th year of recovery, I was a recipient of many back surgeries, and I found my way to prescription pain medicine. Now, the odd part about my story is I actually just sold the medication because I was on workman's comp, and I had no real intention of using opiates. Wasn't part of my story. I was a crack addict, I was an alcohol addict, and those were the things that brought me to my knees. But why I mentioned my 8th year of being clean and selling opiates is because that was the day I compromised my morals and values that I had been taught by many of the people that came before me. And my first use was alcohol at an early age. And man, my drug use is crazy because it was always in the spirit of partying. It wasn't like I'm setting out on a mission to use drugs or alcohol to change the way I felt. It's what the kids in the neighborhood did it. And I'll show my age real quick. I'm a product of the late 70s, so when I grew up, it was 2-and-alls, second-alls, you know, black beauties, yellow jackets. Every girl I knew was hooked on amphetamines and was chain-smoking Virginia Slim menthol lights to be skinny. And then, you know, there were Quaaludes, and they were $1.50 and 50 cents a piece. And in the spirit of partying, man, I crossed the line and a threshold at some point in my life, and where this was fun, and this is no longer fun, and I don't know how to get back to it. And there was a lot of hiding of my drug use, or I thought I was hiding it. I used humor, I used popularity, and I used sports to get my way through high school. I have many accolades in high school wrestling and high school lacrosse. Extremely intelligent when it came to reading and book smarts and math and things like that. And I used all of that to keep people away from me, to protect what I didn't even know was an addiction. This continued to stew inside of me until June 16th of 1996, when received a phone call that my brother Mark Strazza was found dead in a house in Baltimore with a needle in his arm. And that's the day things changed, because I was using crack cocaine, alcohol, marijuana to hide from a feeling. I didn't know how to deal with my brother's death. And on a crack run in 1997. I was living up underneath the bridge. I'd left the home I was at, and I'd rolled down an embankment from underneath this bridge, and my head was hanging off the curb when I came to, and a car was coming at me, and that was the day I felt something had changed. That's the day I went to treatment. That's the day I found my first, 12-step meeting. May 5th, Cinco de Mayo of 2010 in Charleston, South Carolina, I made a decision to drink again over a broken heart. It wasn't even 45 minutes later after I took that drink with a pocket full of money, infinite credit, a 5-bedroom house, that I found the dope man again. And I got an 8-ball and I cooked it, and it was like I never even stopped. And there's something inside of me, when I turn it on, I can't turn it off. Something has to intervene in my life. And on July 10th of 2013, with a pocket full of money and a pocket full of drugs, I could no longer take the chase. There was no hope and there was no light. So I walked out of my front door, which was a stop sign in my sand dune, and I got butterball naked and I walked into the Atlantic Ocean. And it was about 3:30 in the morning. And I couldn't take it anymore. I knew there was a better way of life, but it wasn't going to be available to me a second time. And my best thinking was that it's dark out, there's no one on the beach, there's no lifeguards, there's no boats, there's no one to find me. And I got on one last time. I got naked and I went to the ocean. The idea was I was going to swim as far as I could, as long as I could, till I was so tired and so far away from the beach that not even I could save myself. And as I went through the big waves, through the small waves, and I was into the calm of the Atlantic Ocean, and it was me and the moon. And as I was going under, and I was pretty okay with what was about to happen. It's actually what I wanted to happen. And I wasn't thinking about my family or those that loved me. I was thinking about stopping the pain from my addiction, the pain of my darkness, my past, all these untreated traumas in my childhood. And I was going under, and it was me, the ocean, the moon, and as it turns out, God was out there with me. And I believe God spoke to me that night, and he whispered the word Abigail into my ear. And my chest started to pump, and I couldn't understand why I was getting so nervous. And this was different from the amphetamine that I was on in my chest. This was like a panic. And I wasn't sure what day it was, what time it was, or anything like that. I just knew that my 9-year-old niece and my brother-in-law played volleyball on the beach behind me. And there was no way that I was going to let Abigail hear and or find out that her Uncle B was dead on the shoreline from drowning and killing himself. God knew my heart, God knew my path, and my brother-in-law drove me to a small town on the other side of Easton, Maryland, where I met up with my other sister. I detoxed for 13 days in a tent in the backyard. I remember standing in the driveway when they dropped me off, and I was a disaster, and I drank the whole way from Long Island to here, and I was a disaster, and I was just shattered. And my mom was hugging me and telling me, please don't do this to me. I can't have 2 sons die. See, I had made a decision, and I wasn't sure that I could follow through with it. But I went in that tent, and man, I detoxed off the booze so hard. There were demons in that tent with me. There were things screaming at me that I didn't know existed. It was hell on earth. And every night, man, I'd pick myself up out of that tent, and I'd go into the water and I'd swim around. And I tried to start a conversation with God all over again. And I was trying to make sense of what happened in the ocean that night. And to this day, man, I still have a hard time trying to make sense of what happened. Today, I know because of my faith in Jesus Christ and God Almighty that I was designed and built for something different. And I serve a God that loves me so much that he allowed me to go within a breath of my life. And that's why I do what I do today. The fact that I was so broken. But isn't that the story of Jesus Christ? You know, that he found the broken, and he healed the lepers, and he helped the blind see. And I believe I was one of those people, and I believe I was sought after. I am favored by God. And on Saturdays when I come here and I look out and I see all the brokenness in the pews, and I know they're in the right place. I know they're in the place where we heal broken. And I have a gift, and it's not mine. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to God Almighty, and I just want to act accordingly. And I want anyone that's watching this right now to know that if you're broken and you're hurt, it's a simple prayer.
Hey, Big Bruce, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your story. I appreciate your honesty and opening up your heart and your soul to other people. I hope I can share this with thousands of other people and inspire them to find their journey, understand their gift, their purpose, and like you, finding passion for your purpose. You can make a difference in so many people's lives. Through the grace and mercy of Jesus Christ, Bruce has found that transformation. He's a new creation, and now he's helping so many other people find their path. On the road to recovery, Talbot County, Maryland, with Bruce Strazza. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Michael De Leon, and we'll see you on the next episode.